Like I said, moments ago, and this is very true. I've said it here in Colombo in the past and I want to repeat it. We have instances where people come and say, Sheikh, there is a jinn, my daughter has a jinn. We say, okay. So the daughter says, I see stars at night, I hear voices, this is what happens when I go this way, I see a shadow, that happens. I know default. This girl could not marry the man she wanted to marry, and so she is seeing stars. Because now she's not eating, now she's not drinking, now she is seeing things, now her life is coming to a mess, and so on. Or sometimes it's connected to diet. Diet meaning, because someone told her you're too fat, you're not good looking, so she stops eating, so there is no protein, no minerals, no vitamins, no nothing in the body, so she starts seeing stars, the blood pressure is low, and she starts, so you tell her two or three things. Firstly, you say, jinn does not like a person who is very strong, good, Al-mu'minu al-qawiyyu khayrun wa ahabba ila Allah min al-mu'min al-da'if wa fi kullin khayr. The hadith says, a believer who is strong, and strong both, meaning in your belief and even physically, is more loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than one who is weak in belief and weak physically. Intentional physical weakness is something that is wrong. Do you know that? If you are physically weak and you are doing nothing about it, that is wrong. Islamically also it is wrong. So anyway, you tell them to have their dairy products and their red meat and so on within a certain limit, and suddenly the jinn is gone. That was not a jinn, that was just your diet. And sometimes you ask them a straight up question. Are you married? No. Do you want to marry a particular person? They keep quiet. Father is sitting there, that's the problem. He is the disaster. That is the jinn. The father is the jinn. Allahu Akbar. Allah protect us and grant us ease. May Allah open our doors. I'm speaking from a lot of experience. I'm not joking with you. A lot of experience. We know what goes around. So you find your child is very sick and ill. Sometimes it is because of some form of imbalance within the home, not necessarily in the mind. But imbalance in the house then causes an imbalance in the brain. Then when your child becomes totally mental, requiring medication for the rest of their lives, who are you going to blame? Allahu Akbar. It was simple for you, but you made it tough on yourself. Look at how today we have only started speaking, but we are speaking so much of reality on the ground. Because this is why we do not live happily ever after. Wife, after 10 years, tells the husband, I never ever wanted to marry you. Do you know that? But it took you 10 years to tell me. And husband says, guess what? I was also forced. What is the point? What is the point? Their parents are foolish. Man is telling his wife after so many years, I was forced, I didn't want to marry you. And the woman is saying, I didn't want to marry you. So who is responsible for not allowing the couple to live happily ever after? And at the same time, there are three couples that are saying the same thing to each other. Because that man, the one he wanted to marry, is telling the same statement to her husband. And that woman, the one whom she wanted to marry, is telling the same statement to Allahu Akbar. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us goodness. This is called إِلَّا تَفْعَلُوهُ تَكُنْ فِتْنَةٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَفَسَادٌ عَرِيضٌ. This is why the hadith says, if you are not going to allow that marriage, there will be great chaos and fitna on earth. All marriages are breaking up. Today when people get married, we need to ask, so when is it breaking? Allahu Akbar. Because more marriages, I was thinking that more marriages are breaking than happening. So someone might say, but that can't be the case. It can be the case, because this year, if there have been 200 marriages and 300 divorces, those of last year are also divorcing now. Allahu Akbar. As time is progressing, there are people who are unhappy in marriage. If I were to tell you, my brothers and sisters, without exaggeration, that more than half of us sitting here have a problem at home, I don't think I would be lying. I'm sorry to say this. I'm very sorry. I apologize in advance. I might be wrong. But according to what I know, I think I've worded it carefully. I'm not saying that you are breaking or your marriage is broken, but we do not have a problem at home. I don't think so. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us goodness.